everybody for coming today. It's a very, very impressive turnout. I really appreciate the invitation. And we had a great group in Springfield earlier this year. We had a visit, and they indicated that I thought this would be a good time for us to get together and talk about many of our Southland initiatives. It was mentioned this work comp reform that we signed into law a couple of weeks ago. I want to thank our legislators who are here today. People like Al Riley and Marlo Colvin and Toy Hutchinson. All of them worked so very hard on this legislation. This is landmark legislation for our state. It's been maybe 35 years since there was really a wholesale look at the workers' compensation system in Illinois. And businesses in our state pay about $3 billion a year in work comp premiums. Far more, really, than they pay in taxes, especially for the smaller businesses of Illinois. And so we wanted to really do something significant, and the estimates are anywhere from $500 to $750 million will be saved by Illinois businesses beginning on September 1st on their workers' compensation premiums. We still maintain our fundamental rights of workers if they're injured on the job to receive compensation. We really overhauled the whole system. So I want to thank the legislators who worked so hard on that in our office. There were many, many late meetings, but we all came together with business, with labor, and made sure that we had a good reform. And that covers all the businesses of Illinois. But today I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that we have specifically for the Southland, for the South Suburbs, Will County, Grundy County is not too far away. We really believe in this area. Our community colleges are particularly important, and we're investing in their upkeep and maintenance and new developments. Part of our job bill that was upheld today by the Illinois Supreme Court in an unanimous decision. 9 a.m. the Supreme Court, I was on pins and needles all weekend because this is our job recovery bill, a $31 billion investment in Illinois in our roads, our bridges, our rail systems, our water systems, broadband deployment. We have a strong investment in schools, in remodeling schools, building new schools, building university buildings, community colleges, on and on. And this was all at stake this morning. The court, by unanimous vote, upheld everything that we did, the legislature in our office, and this is full speed ahead. And what's important is both Prairie State and South Suburban Community College will be getting significant investment, as well as Joliet Community College, the very first community college in the history of our country. And also we're investing in Governor State University. We believe in Governor State and its mission, oftentimes for those who may have not completed their education and are coming back at a later time in life. We want to make sure that the institution, Governor State, is strong, and we have to invest in it. So all of that is important. I want to stress how important transportation is to this region of our state and to every region. We're in the middle of the country. Illinois has always been strong in transportation. This summer, we will be building more on our roads than at any other time in the history of Illinois. We've made a significant investment in roads and bridges here and everywhere. We're going to be dealing with, right now, this summer, a very important challenge for the Southland. We're one of the there's only two places in the United States where two interstates intersect and they don't connect to each other. And we have this anomaly at I-57 and I-294 where they come together and you can't easily access them back and forth. Well, we're going to do something about that. We are. We're investing hundreds of million dollars. I think ultimately it'll be about $700 million to connect those two roadways. And I think that's a gateway to economic development here. That's happening now. We are in feverish activity. We want to build the Ileana Expressway. I was here out in Lansing not too long ago. With Mitch Daniels. We believe in teamwork. Sometimes he forgets about that with his highway signs and so on, billboards. But Ileana Ileana is very important to Illinois. We want to connect I-65 in Indiana, to I-57 in Illinois, and then on to I-55 in our state. This is very, very important because we want to be the inland port of America. Right now, we're one of the very strongest areas of intermodal in the whole world. Intermodal is where trains come together with trucks, and you distribute goods all over a whole area, a whole region. In our case, it's the heartland of our country, where we began this intermodal down in Joliet not too long ago, and it's already outgrowing itself. It's so big. We also are planning intermodal in Crete, as well as Markham and Hardin with the railroads, whether it's BNSF or Canadian National or the Union Pacific. A lot of the railroads see this as the way to go. We've worked with Centerpoint and public-private partnerships. We want to continue to do that and probably apply some of the concepts of public-private partnership to accelerate the Ileana, because this is another way to keep growing good jobs built on transportation for our state and for this region. We also understand the importance of public transit, mass transit. We live in an era, unfortunately, of $4 a gallon gasoline. Over the weekend, I signed a couple bills to accelerate our electric vehicle initiatives in Illinois. We want to have more electric vehicles, but at the same time, we understand that public transit is always important. And I really believe in the Southeast Metro line. This is an area of our state, so the suburbs there, that need more access on public transportation. I want to thank Mayor DeGraff for helping organize all the mayors here. It really came together. We worked together. We put together a bill. I signed the bill to really put a district together that can try and make this happen. I also believe in high-speed rail. We're the first state in the union to actually break ground on high-speed rail. We're building Chicago to St. Louis. We saw Larry Walsh here from Will County, and right through Joliet. We're going to be building a kind of an enhancement to the train station there. We want to have a fast train from Chicago to St. Louis so Cub fans can get down to Busch Stadium quicker. There's no promise of a better result than they have right now, but at least they'll get there faster, get home faster. I'm a White Sox fan, as you may know, and they're not doing much better. So that southeast line would actually, I think, go by 35th Street, that public transit line. We should not in any way diminish high-speed rail. High-speed rail is the wave of the future in our country and definitely in our region. We've always been strong in rail. We understand passenger rail, we understand freight rail, but high-speed rail is something new. We're interested in Chicago to St. Louis. That ground's been broken. We're making significant progress, spending hundreds of millions of dollars this summer on that from our capital bill that was just upheld by the Supreme Court this morning. But we also are interested in another high-speed rail opportunity. We'd like to connect O'Hare to McCormick Place, all the way to Governor State, and on to Peatone, on to Kankakee, on to Champaign. This would be super high-speed rail at 220 miles an hour. And then in Champaign, we'd like to see two branches, one to St. Louis, the other one to Indianapolis. We want to be visionaries here. There's a passage in Scripture that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And we're not planning to perish anytime soon, I guarantee you that. So we really have to have big plans. And super high-speed rail from all the way downtown Chicago, all the way through the south suburbs, and all the way to Peatone. I do want to speak about the airport. I'm a fervent believer in the airport. I think we need to have it. This is a great opportunity. The fastest growing part of our state, and indeed our country, are places like Will County, the south suburbs, with all this intermodal, with all this inland port district, with the Ileana, and with all these other transportation initiatives. It's planes, trains, and airports that are second to none. We want to make sure we connect all of our transportation modes together. So we are forging ahead. We've got to obviously have some work to do on the airport, but I'm very optimistic we can get that done and done soon. because this is something we've got to do for our country and definitely for our state. The number one challenge that we have in America today is economic growth and jobs. Far more important than any other issue. That's what I felt from day one. That if we can grow our economy, we can address our budget issues, we can deal with the deficit issues, but the best way to help the most people is a job. And that's the best way to keep families together. Best way to fight poverty. Best way to fight crime is economic growth and jobs. And last year, our state, Illinois, not Indiana, not Wisconsin, here in the Midwest, the number one state by far in growing jobs, more jobs than anybody, was Illinois. And we want to keep it that way. We've had a lot of talk from other governors. You know, when the president of China came, he didn't go to Kokomo. He didn't go to Sheboygan. He came here to Illinois. And we are interested. I was just, when we did this electric vehicle thing on Saturday, there's a Chinese company that makes buses that are all electric. And I'm going to China in September, and we want to talk to the Chinese about investing in here, because we've had significant investment from other countries in Illinois. We're by far the biggest in the Midwest at attracting foreign investment that creates jobs, and we want to continue that. I'm going to also visit Japan, because we have many Japanese-owned businesses that are involved in investing in Illinois. We want to get investment that creates jobs here. And I know Funklinko, I saw Vicki in the audience. Funklinko is a very, very great company located in Chicago Heights that understands the challenge of rail and export. We want to export things. In Dixmoor, we're fixing up rail cars and locomotives and exporting them to places like Australia and South Africa. Those are goods coming from Illinois. We have subcontractors that are helping put the various components together for high-speed rail and rail manufacture. We want to be a center for rail manufacture, and we can keep it attracting opportunities. And we also understand how important export is to our economy. Because last year in Illinois, we grew our exports by 20%. And our goal is to double our exports over the next 5 years. We've got to average at least 20% a year. And we're off to a good start this year, because in the first quarter, our exports increased 33%. But one of our big challenges is we want to work with our businesses, especially our smaller businesses, that may never have exported before. We want to help them kind of get into that opportunity. In some cases, some businesses have exported to one country. We like them to export to 2 or 3 countries. They're already got their foot in the water, but we want to really get them going, because there's great, great economic opportunities for Illinois in exporting, not just our agriculture, which is second to none. 1 out of every 4 soybeans that we grow in our state, we export to China. They have a great appetite for our soybeans, and so do their animals as well. As a matter of fact, we even are exporting Asian carp to China. If you can't beat them, eat them. That's our philosophy. We have a lot of Asian carp in the Illinois River. We have a company that's catching them, freezing them, and because our water is a lot less polluted than China, when we're frozen, sent over there, this is a delicacy in China. We've seen it, the Chinese, they like Asian carp. I'm not so sure about folks here. So we want to look for markets anywhere in the world. And we have an export council that works on this. We're going to work with everybody in the Southland on that. We also have an innovation council. And we have in our next meeting, we've had 2 of them. Next one, September 19th. And we're going to really celebrate innovation in Illinois. LED technology, which is a lighting technology, was invented at the University of Illinois. The professor who invented it is still there. And we have great people with great minds, with great entrepreneurial energy, and we shouldn't sell ourselves short in any part of our state, especially this part of Illinois, because if you look at the statistics, this is a place where people know how to work hard. They've done great things over many, many years. We have great things to do in the future. And we have a lot of challenges to embrace. The most important challenge, I think, with respect to the economy of the 21st century is we want to be sustainable, which is a fancy word for a green way of thinking and a green way of acting. We've got to have energy efficiency wherever we can find it. We've got to use renewable energy wherever we can. And we've got to use water conservation. These are three things that come together. They're green-collar jobs. Lots of opportunity, economic opportunity and prosperity by investing in sustainability. So this law that the Supreme Court upheld today, every part of that bill that I signed into law requires when the state of Illinois is doing building that it follow energy efficiency principles, that it use renewable energy wherever possible, that we engage in water conservation. We want to work with our businesses wherever we can on that mission. And we can't sell ourselves short, that we must have workers who are well trained in all of these areas. That's why our community colleges are so important. We have 1 million people going to community college in the state of Illinois. That's more than we have in four-year universities. So lots and lots of people, they need to improve their education or their skills, go to a local community college. That's why I believe so much in our 48 community colleges in Illinois. We want to invest in them because they have such an important mission. And to put it in perspective, you know, we have a lot of our service members returning from Iraq, returning from Afghanistan. They're our veterans. We're proud of them. They're proud of everything they've done. But the best way to really say thank you is a J-O-B. And it must be, I think, the mission of all of us that we employ our veterans and give them a good opportunity, not only a good education, decent health care, but an opportunity to have a job you can support a family in. And I want to give you an example of what we did south of here in Southern Illinois, a community college called Red Lake. We're a group of 15 veterans from Southern Illinois. When they came home, weren't able to find the job that they were hoping for. They were well trained in the military. One in particular, I remember Will Attig, he graduated from high school, signed up for the Army, went to Iraq, he was deployed 3 or 4 times, he was a sergeant, led troops in battle, had great skills, just couldn't find a job. And so, thanks to the pipe fitters, and I know we have some of our labor here today, I want to thank them because there's a program called Helmets to Hard Hats. And not far from here on I-80, there's a training center of the pipe fitters and many other of our unions that train apprentices. And so at this community college, in connection with the pipe fitters, these 15 young veterans got a program together, and they learned how to be welders, and now they're welders. I just got a text message from Will a couple of weeks ago. He's not only got a union card, but he got his first paycheck as a union welder. He learned how to be a welder at a community college thanks to a partnership with the unions and the college in their community. So I think that's what we have to keep looking for, partnerships. Using education, gotta have skills. You're gonna be a welder, you're gonna have a trades job, you gotta understand principles. You gotta know how to read a blueprint. You gotta know something about math in many cases. So it's important we have that kind of skilled training, that we tie it into our infrastructure. Our location is second to none in the country. We're in the middle of the country. But we also have to have strong transportation, good highways. Last year, for example, we had the fewest number of people, fatalities on the highway in Illinois since 1921. That's because we want to build our highways safer, we want to have safe driving as well. Those are things that come together. And so all of this is part of building a recovering economy. We all know we suffered a grievous recession, the worst probably in our lifetimes. My mother is 93. She went through the Great Depression. Most of us never had such a tough recession as we had a couple of years ago. We don't throw up our hands and say, woe is me. What we do is come together and work together for the common good. It's amazing what human beings can accomplish when no one worries about who gets the credit. So my job as governor, I took over a pretty tough time. My predecessor, you know what it happened to him, he's going to jail, and his predecessor is in jail. So we got to straighten this out in Illinois. We have to have honest government, and that's what we got. We passed tough ethics laws. We understand that. We have an honest government. So we have an honest government. We understand we have great challenges with our economy. We're building an entrepreneurial economy that can create jobs and sustain jobs along the lines of what I've talked about today. And that'll help us all. all of us, get our budget back in order. We've got to do that to make our state a strong state, not only today, but for years to come, for our kids. And in closing, that's really what I think the Southland is all about. Every time I've come here, there's a strong patriotic sentiment I've seen over and over again, where your sons and daughters, they answer the call to duty. They're out there volunteering for our military and doing the toughest jobs imaginable. 2 years ago about this time, I was in Iraq, I was in Afghanistan, and I saw firsthand how well our troops perform their duties and then just do a magnificent job for all of us. And this region of our state sends many young men and women to defend our democracy, and we're profoundly grateful to you for that. And having said that, it's important that we have this, I think, attitude of gratitude, and that when our young people and their children come along, we want to make sure we have a good society for them. So we have to always, as Americans, understand the great thing about our country is that parents and adults sacrifice some of their present in order to help their kids' future. We are custodians of the future. So sometimes we have to do tough things, hard things, make sacrifices in order to help the common good move forward. And I think we've done that in the last couple of years. We have more to do. And I think if we work together, this area of our state, I have tremendous optimism for, that we have so many ingredients for doing something really special. And I look forward to working with everybody here on that mission, and together we can make the will of the people law of the land. Thank you very much. We received some money from the federal government in the aftermath of, well, here he is, I didn't see him, Will Davis. Where are you? So we received some money that every state got with respect to Hurricane Katrina. It was a disaster. There was some flooding that occurred not only in our state but other states, and as a result we received some federal money. It's from the feds, $6.6 million in funding that we received. We're going to be investing that in the south suburbs in 6 different communities with respect to helping those communities either purchase or rehab or demolish vacant or abandoned homes, and to upgrade the water and sewer lines and roads in the vicinity of these housing projects. We got this particular infrastructure money from the federal government. We want to pump it back into the local economy. So that's one thing we're doing. But now the 2 pieces of legislation. One is designed to, Toy and Al sponsored, that will help local communities in this area, the Southland, get appropriate funding for economic development. The other bill that Al Riley sponsored with Meg McCarty extends the deadline for the city of Markham to complete a redevelopment program in the TIF district that they have. What is the status of the casino bill? This is somebody who went to Fenwick High School. That's where I went to Fenwick High School. He graduated in '88, and I graduated before that. My brother is a teacher there. He's also the basketball coach for 31 years. So once a Catholic leaguer, always a Catholic leaguer. Don't forget that. And the Chicago Catholic League is the oldest continuous prep athletic league in the United States. Next year they'll be 100 years old. So the question is, what about the gaming bill? The gaming bill is being held by the Senate. They passed it on the last day of legislative session, but in a curious maneuver, they have not sent it to the governor, myself. It's 400 pages long. That hasn't deterred us from actually analyzing the bill. You really have to look at it extremely carefully because there's all kinds of provisions in it, some of which have been publicized, some have not been publicized. And I've tried to listen to both proponents of the bill and opponents of the bill. I've had them into my office and talked to many, many different groups. We still have more to come. And anyone here who has a point of view on this, feel free to send it our way. I know that there is a provision for a South Suburban casino in the bill. I will also point out that I guess about a week or so, maybe very shortly, the Displays Casino, the 10th license, it's I think called Rivers. No, Rivers or Rivers is the name of the casino. That is starting. And under the bidding for the 10th license, Displays in that casino up there agreed to give 10 communities a share of the revenue. 10 communities, revenue sharing it's called. And a number of them are in the south suburbs and in the Southland. And I was talking to the mayor of Displays, and he told me that he called some of the mayors in the south suburbs to let them know about this. They maybe weren't aware of it, but you're going to be getting some money already from the 10th license. I think in general, the bidding that occurred for that license conducted by the Illinois Gaming Board, a regulatory body that's been around for 20 years, ever since gambling started in Illinois. We have to be pretty pleased with the fact that the Gaming Board has really run a scandal-free operation over the last 2 decades. This is very important to me, and I'm sure to everyone here. We cannot allow any kind of expansion of gambling to occur where there are any questions of integrity. Because so far, we've been able to keep bad elements out and run it on the up and up. We have a tough gaming board, a fair gaming board, and I heard from their chairman and their staff last week. I have a lot of confidence in their ability to do the right thing all the time. And it's very important for our politics, our economics, to make sure that anytime these issues come up about gambling and casinos, that they be done, everything be done right. So that's one of the things I'm looking at when I look at this bill. But I do encourage anyone here who has a point of view on this subject, pro or con, now's the time to let me know. The bill has not arrived yet. We're going to be doing rigorous analysis. We already started, and we want your voice to be heard. So that's important. Okay, next question is, how can Illinois become more fiscally prudent and balance our budget? Well, I think the number one way to balance a budget is to have economic growth, both at the federal level and at the state level. I don't think we should kid ourselves about that. That when the economy falters, that's when budgets really get bad. Because there's expenditures you have to make in order to help people who are in dire straits. So we want to have a growing economy. We understand that the best way to help the most people is a paycheck. And so that's why I've tried to focus all of our efforts of state government on making Illinois have a better economy. And for the last 16 months, 15 out of those 16 months, we've had a declining unemployment, lower unemployment. It was a tough time back in the early part of 2009 for our whole country, but we're rebounding, and we have to continue to rebound in Illinois. We're doing better than the rest of the country, and in fact, the rest of the Midwest. I think that's one way to go. The next way is we've cut more money from our state budget than any governor, by far, in the history of Illinois. The budget of this year, that I signed a week or two ago, is a couple of billion, about $2 billion less than the year before. Now, I try at all times to maintain core investments in education. I believe in early childhood education. It's the very best investment government of any kind could ever make. That education of children early on pays great dividends for a lifetime. So I believe in that. I don't believe in draconian cuts there. Same way with kindergarten through 12th grade. If you're going to have a knowledge-based economy that's fast moving in the whole world, you must have smart people. Jobs follow brain power. That's what I believe in. So investing in education, we do our very best, particularly at that early level and also at the community college level I mentioned. We also believe in decent health care, public safety. So we try to maintain our core investments. We had this year, the southern part of our state, a terrible flood. It was a siege of 15 days. If we didn't act and act quickly with all of our government, and we had to spend money to do it, we would have had, as a town like Carroll, Illinois, the southern part of our state, under 15 feet of water, just like would have been like in New Orleans there, the North Ninth Ward. And so we had to act. So public safety is important to me. We've got to have the funds to do that. But having said that, we've cut the budget. We'll continue to cut the budget. We have a plan to restructure our debt, to get all those who are owed money, businesses, governments, the RTA, the CTA, Metro, and PACE, get them the money that they're owed, get it to them quickly. Last week I signed a bill, a very important bill, that requires CTA, Metro, and PACE to have a universal fare card. This is really important. We understand that when you take Metro into downtown, hopefully we'll have a new Metro over here in the southeast end, but when you take Metro in, well, you may want to use that card to take a bus. Or maybe take a PACE bus to Metro, and then you get off in Chicago and want to take a CTA bus or train. We want to have a universal card. We can do this. We're going to get it done quickly and really make a difference for riders. Okay. Next question. How do you reconcile companies who push for the Amazon tax with some of those same companies that are threatening to leave the state if they don't receive tax subsidies? Well, what is the Amazon tax? A number of our retail merchants came to me, not only big businesses, but some small ones as well, on Main Street. They didn't think it was fair that Amazon was not collecting sales tax. So other states, not only our own, but New York, California, quite a few others now, have adopted a law that says that if Amazon has affiliates, then they have to collect tax like all the other businesses collect tax. It's an unfair advantage for them to not pay heed to the law. So I think we're going to win that battle. Sears is a company that feels that there should be a level playing field, and I signed that law. They're up there in the Huffman Estates. They're talking about looking at other states, but I plan to sit down with them. We are sitting down with them, and we're willing to do targeted investments from the state to keep jobs. I did that at Ford. We have our little Colvin here, State Representative Colvin. Ford's not too far from here in Chicago, and we invested some of our state money so Ford could expand their production. And they're building a new product there called the Ford Explorer. It's 30% more fuel efficient, great demand for it, created 1,200 jobs just on the assembly line, and then many, many more jobs in contracting and supply. So I think when you do that, you get a dividend, you get an investment back. We don't just invest tax money for its own sake. We want the company that receives an investment to make huge investments of its own and create jobs. And if they don't, there are provisions that require our money to come back. So that's one of the questions. Okay, last question. All right, let's find one here that fits in here. Okay. All right, I'm trying to find a good question that hasn't been answered. All right, so what are my thoughts on school consolidation? We have too many school districts in Illinois. We've got about 896. Many states, large states, even bigger than ours, have far fewer school districts. I believe that we should invest our money in the classroom. That is where parents and teachers and students are best able to get quality education. So I'm not a real big fan of lots and lots of bureaucracy or administration, so I think we can do better there. There's going to be a commission established to look at school consolidation and school district consolidation. Schools are going to all be the same, but the districts, I mean, we have some districts in our state where they have in the district one school. And this is, I don't think, an efficient way of going, so we're going to look at that. Okay, all right, what can be done to reduce the ever-increasing tuition at state universities? Well, this year we made investments in both our higher education at the university level and community college level, significant investments that I think led the boards of trustees to moderate their tuition increases. We have to try and keep school tuition at the university level affordable. We also have a program called MAP, Monetary Assistance Program. It's been around for 50 years, and I was sitting with a great representative of St. Xavier University, and that's where my aunt taught for many years. And St. Xavier is known, like many schools, for having first generation in their family going to college. First time ever. Somebody in the family went to college. We wanted to have that happen over and over again. But our program of scholarships, MAP, Monetary Assistance Program, is designed to help, in particular, needy folks who have the ability to do college work, oftentimes the first in the family to go to college, get some scholarship assistance so they can go to college and get those skills and create the jobs in the future. And so I fought hard for math and funding for math. And I think by doing that, that's a good way to deal with the tuition issue. Well, there's many more questions. I'd be glad to answer any of these individually along the way. But I do want to thank everybody for coming today, listening. Look forward to working with you in partnership. We have to be a team here, and we team up, we can accomplish great things and make our state the best it can be. Thank you.